Are you ready for drinking? Drawing? What about laughing? Well, hold on to your butts. It's the ComX Friday Night Drink and Draw, with your hosts Sizzle and Spedsy, as well as a bunch of Australia's best-looking creators and artists, many of whom have books for sale at comx.shop. Hey, Sizzle, what say we start the shizzle?
Well, the Friday Night Drink and Draw brought to you by ComX. We are here every week bringing together Australia's greatest artists and storytellers to chat with and to draw their character created by the week's special guest. This week's guest is none other than Dean Rankine. Many different fames, and but tonight we'll be drawing his Timmy the ticked off pony.
Thanks, Shane. Yes, ticked off Tony is who we're drawing.
What's great about Timmy? Timmy's not hard. So Timmy's not a hard draw. Let me say you. Like I've drawn 4 books of Timmy, and he's pretty easy. On
awesome.
purpose.
4.
Yeah.
I've only got 3. I've only got the 3.
So book for the Fast and the Furious. I named that title, by the way. Comes out mid-November.
Okay,
is that an exclusive, Dean?
Oh, I think everybody knows it, but I'll tell you exclusively. Yes, that's coming out. Possibly early November. Let's say that.
Well, joining us on tonight's show is myself, obviously. We've got Sizzle. Lauren is with us. Angie, Dave,
hey.
Chris, Josh, Millie, and newcomer Nathan Stone is here with us. Welcome, Nathan. And of course, the guest is McBeardface himself, Dean Rankine.
I didn't change that. I don't know why I did that. I think it might have been one of Nate's thing. I named myself McBeardface, and it's just stayed.
Yeah, it's majestic beard.
Majestic. Yes, yeah.
A life of its own.
And this fella here is who we are drawing, Timmy the ticked off pony. And everybody charge your pencils. Let's get cracking. Now, Dean, if you don't mind, I'm a big fan and a little bit intimidated, to be honest, so I will likely try my words.
An intimidating guy, you should be scared. If you've met me before. I always think people must be really like disappointed when they actually meet me. Go, oh shit. Like, oh, it's just him. Okay. That's kind of disappointing.
Well, I actually met you a couple of months ago in the Supernova car park.
The Supernova car park. That's right. It was
you remember?
I do remember.
Oh, good.
It was a special time for all of us.
Yeah.
And we squeezed in a convention, which I think was. I don't think anyone else has been able to do that, but we got one in. Which was a few months back now, but it was nice to be back in action and doing a convention. So, I look forward to, I don't know, maybe later in the year or next year, we might be able to get back into it.
Yeah. Well, I had one of those moments where I've followed your career and I've watched a lot of your streams, and so I just assumed you knew me. I was like, Dean, as soon as I saw you, and I was with Hayden Spurrell, and like you turned around and like I had to explain who I was, and I was like, oh, why did I? But I just blurted because I did all the time.
Yeah.
Even though you don't know me.
Because I have this really bad memory at conventions. People come up to me and go, oh, hi, Dean. And also because when you're at a convention, like you've got a big poster behind you and says your name. So so everybody knows who you are, but you don't necessarily know who anybody else is. So I always do is go, oh, hey, like I don't know who they are.
You bring me like that all the time, Dean, when I see you.
That guy, Dave, you know?
Yeah, you were very convincing, so good.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how your journey began, when you started drawing and when you turned your hobby into a profession sort of thing?
Yeah, so I have it's my origin story. I've got it pretty down pat. I've said it a few times. So as a kid, I always drew. In kindergarten, I remember there was a teacher or a parent who said to me, "I drew a possum," and they said how it was really good. And I swear to God that it was like kind of like a turning point that I can draw. And I'm sure it was awful because all kids' drawings are awful. But I'm such a praise monkey that I kind of ran with it. Guy, this is my thing. I'm going to draw, and I never really knew what I wanted to draw. I just wanted to draw. Like I watched a lot of cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. I like the comic strips. I like illustrated books. I like comics, and in some ways, even now, I'm not really sure what I want to do. But it was just like I just kind of fell into whatever area I was doing. And so I did lots of indie comics, I did books, but my big break, so I'm 50 now, but when I was 38, I was doing stuff for those kind of kids magazines that you picked up at the supermarket, and the work dried up.
Was that Kids Zone and things like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I went to my local Coles and I picked up a Simpsons comic, and it all looked really good. But there was this one page, a one-page short that wasn't as good as anything else. It was, and so inspired by something like that, it looked achievable. I thought I could just about do that. So at the time, there was a submissions email you could send to. So I started sending work to Simpsons, and I reckon they got back to me after the first or second one. They said they liked my work. And so I started drawing for Simpsons comics. And it was mainly like backup stories, but it kind of changed my life. Suddenly like you're an indie creator and you're just doing stuff that with dodgy anatomy. And then suddenly you're working on The Simpsons, and then people assume that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And also that you go, oh shit, Simpsons. Like it doesn't matter what I do from now on, I'll always be known as the Simpsons guy. Like it doesn't matter, like, you know. Yeah, so that's me now. And I embrace it. I love it. I want to be like, you know, I'm really happy to be the ambassador for that IP because the fan base is the people who like Simpsons. It's such a nice fan base. You know, some of those other fan groups are kind of a little bit troublesome sometimes.
Yeah.
I think
you've dabbled in some of those as well, haven't you?
Yeah, but it's just like they're just lovely. So it's just kind of what I'm known as, I guess. So I embrace it. And so Simpsons ran for about 7 years. I did mainly backup stories, some main stories, but I wrote and drew those. And I would love to go back and draw every single. I love that one. I would love to go back and redraw every single thing that I did because it was never quite on model. And I think now I'm better than I was. But now you take it when you can get it, kind of thing, you know. So so armed with having worked on Simpsons, I thought my career would snowball, and it didn't snowball. Never kind of snowballs. I'm constantly hustling for work, and that's just you know how I roll. And you know it's the hustle and grind, and I've been able to make kind of a career out of that. So so really privileged.
I mean, that's kind of good news and bad news for us. We go, oh, well, he still has to put the work in to get gigs, and then it's like, but wait, you got the golden gig, and now you still have to. It should be
like
an award.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of if there's a takeaway message for any creators, you've just got to continue to hustle, and it would be nice if it was different. It would be nice if it was. So also, I swear you even inspired a lot of love for drawing as a kid. At insane amount. Yeah, K-Zone, and Crash. And I don't think I got into D-Mag, but I really wanted to. Mania was the main thing I worked on. It's the it's kind of like I think you can't get too complacent. You can't think that, I've worked on this, now I've got it kind of snowed and I'm fine. It just doesn't work like that. But it's been nice because I think Simpsons does a couple of things. look, it may not get you the gig, but it will at least crack the door open a little bit for you to be able to put your foot in to go, oh, well, work on this. And that being able to like push a bit open to go, oh, let's see if you can work on this. Also, conventions, like, we were talking about Supernova before, that's been really nice because it means you can get to be a guest at the convention. You get build a bit of a fan base. People come up and meet you, that kind of thing. It's kind of cool. Very funny. I like
the the bit that I was blown away about, like the Simpsons cartoon, obviously has a writer's room, and you wrote a lot of your Simpsons stories.
I wrote all the Simpsons comics that I worked on. Yeah.
Was there
I didn't know that.
Is anyone punching up the jokes, or are you just smashing it out and it's all you on the page?
Yeah, no, it was all me. Look, I was really privileged. I think the art directors at the time liked what I was doing. I very much, I don't know, the kind of an indie disposition that you kind of when you come from it's not like I did a lot of indie comics, but I really I worked in magazines, and it was kind of like you did everything. You did the lettering, you did the coloring, you did the writing, and that's kind of, you just do it all. And what's really interesting with my time with Simpsons with Bongo was they never really asked me to draw more a model, which you'd think would be like the main thing they would ask. But it was very much, for me, it was like I should try to be more a model. That means I'll get more work. But they didn't ask me to do that. That was very much just how I rolled with it. So, Hey,
Dean, who do I with the Simpsons, who do you identify? Which character do you identify with?
With the most, Milhouse. Like, it's like my total jam. Like all that kind of like, with girls, I'll be their friend, and then they'll like me, and it's just like this kind of tragic character. Not like thinks he's cool, but he's really not, kind of thing. Definitely, without question. Nice.
So we know what Milhouse is going to look like at 50, hey?
What'd you say, mate?
I was just going to say, we now know what Milhouse is going to look like when he's 50.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Wookie butt. This is going to
Majestic kid.
Majestic.
So I'm a cartoonist more so than the comics that I grew up on. Did you say you were a comic fan? Were you like into your X-Men's and all that sort of stuff? Like,
I actually was, like, to a point, like, I grew up in Rye on the Mornington Peninsula, so the Melbourne people would know where that is. It's a beach town. Like, when I was a kid, there was nothing there. You either surfed or you played footy, and I didn't do either of those things. So I felt very much like an outsider, very much like I don't know. Look, as a kid, I talked funny, and I was into geeky stuff, and it wasn't really until I got to my first convention, which was I actually went to I flew up to Sydney for a Supernova. Was my first convention, like many years ago, and kind of realized, these are my people. I'm not alone. Until then, I kind of felt like it was very much this is just me. This is how. There's something wrong with me. I'm not quite manly enough. I don't know how to kick a football. I don't know how to do the things that men are supposed to do. So to answer your question, so what I did was, so I absorbed myself like in the newsagents. I'd pick up whatever comic kind of was there. I didn't know any artists. It was like, I like this kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I did an art and design course at TAFE. Showing my age again, 89, 90, and so I would go across the road on my lunch break, and there was newsagents there, and this is going to sound really bad, but I remember picking up New Mutants by Rob Liefeld, and people give him a lot of shit, but it changed my world. Like and not that I had read comics, but like I thought, I picked up that, thought, well, this is really different and actually really for me, really inspiring. So,
well, I mean, that's why I'm asking. Like, a lot of my questions are a little bit selfish because, as I say, I'm a cartoonist who grew up on X-Force was a huge deal for me, but I spent a lot of time trying to draw like Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld when I couldn't. Now, I don't know if you could or couldn't, but obviously, at some point, you obviously embraced your cartooning style, and that's something I've only sort of learnt in the last 10 years. And I just wondered, did you have was there I'm a cartoonist, I'm going to focus on this, or was there
you know what? I would even argue that it's been like more recent for me to be able to be okay with it. Like I did an art design course, and for like many years, I've always like I'm not a real artist. Like real artists do, they draw better than I do. You know what has been really important to me? It was many years ago. Tim McEwen from Sydney. Everyone knows Tim.
Yep.
Said to me along the lines of, you don't. Yeah, it's okay, Dean. You don't work well.
Wow.
You don't draw. Don't draw. That's great. You know.
Oh my god!
Nice one, Dave.
But it was along the lines of like, but there's something that's engaging about your work, and to be able, I think, and I look at people's work, and it might be technically amazing, but it doesn't engage people, and I think that. That's really important, and so I have embraced that component of it. I'm constantly in a fight that with myself that I should be a better artist. I should be able to draw better. Like I still do life drawing. I'm supposed to be better at that. Look, I can't say that I'm completely comfortable with what I do, but I'm trying to be the best Dean that I can be.
Yeah,
and. That's that cartoony style. That's what I get excited about. That's how I want to draw. And like it's funny, I look at like Cal Arts kind of stuff, and I look at it now and go, man, I've been drawing like that for years. And I wish that I had, in some ways, that my TAFE teachers at art school would be able to say, that's okay. You're allowed to draw like that. That this is okay. So I think I answered that question.
No, I mean, mate, you're changing my life right now. So,
well, this is because it has been a friction.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the fact that you work on Simpsons as well, Simpsons comics. The Simpsons was a big turning point for me. Like early on, trying to go, all right, well, I draw more in a Simpsons style than a X-Force style, etc. But something I've struggled with until. Well, I mean, I still struggle with it. It's a question that I brought up today. So.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think a lot of cartoony people, we do have that kind of baggage that we're supposed to draw proper, we're supposed to draw right, But it's it's kind of like that spark joy stuff. Like, I can't I can maybe get away with it. I could be a sloppy average comic book artist who could draw straight. Do you know what I mean? To a point, but it doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
For what? So,
yeah. I mean, I'm just without making this all about me, but so I do a book about the Devil's Toilet. The Devil's Toilet, and my silly style and that silly name make people think that the book is silly. And assume that it's full of poop jokes and everything, and there's a poop joke or two in there for sure. But have you? I know you do. You could argue childlike art or art that appeals to
a naive style or something like that. Yeah.
But with adult sort of themes, and how is that something that just came naturally, or was that a decision to do? Like your I've got one of them here, the itty bitty bunnies.
Oh, itty bitty bunnies, so good.
Yeah.
So itty bitty bunnies is about these like they're naked because they got their dicks out, naked drug using bunny rabbits, and I love it already. It just makes me laugh. There's something about that kind of cute things being awful. Yep. Like there's something about that I find really appealing. And currently I'm doing some stuff for so Scotty Young has a. Do you know Scotty Young? So Scotty Young does these. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Scotty Young, right? And I'm doing some work with him. He's got a Substack, and he's doing kind of the further adventures of I Hate Fairyland.
Oh wow!
Did you draw that while you were asking me questions? It's a killer.
It's just
There we go.
a
Good one, mate.
There you
rough,
go.
yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, you're covering the nipples. That's
Yeah.
That's
It's funny, I
Yeah.
read that
So
before we
Lee
spoke
Shepard
about
did ask a question about my current drawing request on a live show. Yes, Lee Shepard, you're a bastard. He asked me to draw. I was on a live stream and I was saying about the hardest things artists have to draw are things like horses and bicycles, and I had to I don't know. He got me to draw a horse riding a bicycle, jumping over a burning bus, or something like that. It was awful. Anyway, so yeah, I'm doing this stuff with Scotty Young at the moment, and it was really nice because recently I've been doing a lot of being on model. Like I have to be. A lot of the stuff I work on is on model. It has to look like Underdog, or it has to look like these young Archie characters or something that I've been doing, and. He's got me to draw this. He liked Itty Bitty Bunnies, and he wanted it to be like that. And it was like, oh, that's really nice. That I don't know. It's like kind of that's very much me. It's very much my style, and it's been a few years since I've been able to just be me. You know, like even since I would never. Doing stuff on model has allowed me to do so much. Hey, Darren. But it is nice just to rip out, just do it yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, Dean, what's model? What do you mean by on model?
So on model, so for instance, if you're drawing so Simpsons, there is an expectation that your style looks like Simpsons when you open up the comic book.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, particularly Simpsons is I don't know, Bart has 9 points on his head, and they can't be too spiky, they can't be too round, or if you're drawing something like the Archie novel that I did, Archie has to look a certain way. You can't just do it how you want to do it. Yeah, so that's what I mean by that.
Sounds tough.
It's interesting. It's an interesting balance because sometimes it's when you draw something and it doesn't look like your work. There's something I find there's something really cool about that. There you go. Oh, look, anybody could have done that. Anybody could have done that Simpsons comics. And I know when people think this is a compliment, but they'll come up to me at conventions and go, "Man, I'll pick your work anywhere." And I go, "Oh no! Look, I've tried so hard to squeeze into this kind of plot." And then they go, "Oh yeah, that's Dean Rankine." Yeah. So thanks a lot, people.
That's actually a big thing in animation. So when I did my diploma in animation, that was a huge thing, was going off models. So you would get what we had to do is you had to draw a model sheet and give it to another student, and they had to kind of replicate what you drew. And it was actually quite hard because everyone's style is so unique and so different. And to be able to nail it, it's a huge talent and a huge pat on the back to be able to do it. So
I think it's hard enough being consistent within your own style.
It's so counterintuitive because people go, "Oh, you should have your own style and you'll work towards your own thing," and that kind of. It's like when I think about my style, it's like my guts on display to the world, and whoever's drawing that should draw. My guts are on display to the world, and then I think that's hard when you get critiqued about your work because it's so personal. But I do get this joy about I did a Rick and Morty cover, and when I drew that, I think, you know what, that looks like Rick. No one could know that I drew that, and I don't know, I get a buzz out of that too. It's a different kind of way of thinking. It's a different way of creating. But yeah, the creative arts, I think you have to be flexible. I tell my other theory that this is, I heard this on the radio once. It's about how to survive in the world of business or something. and it's either you have to be a cheetah or you have to be a dog. Okay, so a cheetah is a specialized animal. Thank you very much. Thank you. So it's a specialized animal where where it like hunts a particular kind of antelope or whatever it is, and it does that, and it does that really, 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 really well. Or you'll be a dog, and a dog, sometimes it hunts, sometimes it picks up scraps. It eats anything that's around, and I kind of see my career as being a dog. That it's a little bit from here, like I'll design card games, I'll do poetry for a kid's book, I'll do comics, I'll do stickers. Anything that allows me to not have a real job in my life is that I desperately cling to. Saying that, I do have a real job part-time, and my wife works, and that's allowed me to do this. So it's not like I'm operating just alone. It's a tough world out there. You want to survive any way you can.
Yeah.
That's our Detective Budgie Quick Nick in the background.
No, I like that.
So when you are on one of those days where it's Professional Illustrator Day, what does your day look like? How do you motivate yourself when working from home?
Yeah, look, I fell in a heap this afternoon. I think I watched some TV, but other than that, I've been working every day. I don't know, forever. I work on weekends. If I have a deadline, I keep plugging away. If I have something, a project to work on, I just go for it. I don't tend to work late into the evening. Mm-hmm. I find that I don't sleep well afterwards, and then my next day is kind of a bit wasted. So I don't tend to do 12-hour days. But say something like, so the graphic novel I did late last year, early this year. So it's called Riverdale Diaries, starring Veronica, and it was 122 pages, and I don't know how many months. Well, I worked it out. I penciled, inked, and coloured. I had a flatter, penciled, inked, coloured a page every 1.2 days.
Wow.
So that's brutal, and I never ever wanted to do it again. But can I do it? Yeah, I can do it. But I don't want to do it because so I did that was every day. I didn't take any breaks. I just did it every day. So I'm originally I'm pretty motivated. I'm really conscious I'm going to die, and that I get as much work as I can out before then. Right now I'm not doing anything. I don't have any work. So I'm doing the Jacktober thing at the moment. That's been kind of fun. But sorry,
what's that? Jacktober. What's that?
Yeah, so you know how you do Inktober and all the different So this is Jacktober. So this is the it's inspired by Jack Kirby.
Oh, Kirby.
Oh, yeah. So it's pretty cool. So
your take on it, Dean, is pretty. Is classically you. I think my favourite so far has been Ant-Man and Wasp, which is just pretty much two specs, and then just Ant-Man and Wasp words pointed towards specs.
Yeah.
So, highly detailed there, dude.
Yeah. So I'm doing some real ones as well. I'm pretty negative zone. I'm just gonna do nothing.
Your style and Kirby's is so similar, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
So can I ask a question?
Please.
With Dean, where did Timmy sort of come from?
Yeah, so I worked on a book I was sitting at a cafe and I got a message from the writer of a book called Simon Sidebottom, and said Scholastic wanted to contact me. And I said, okay, yeah, so here's the email. So I contacted them back and said, hey, you want to talk to me? And they offered me a gig for this book. I don't know how it happened. I don't know where they heard me from. And so I did a 3-book series for them. Then down the track, they offered me, they said, a very well-known Australian actor is writing a children's book. It's about a famous pony. Kind of give me like a general gist of what the character was like, and can you do some sketches? So I did some sketches and didn't hear anything for like, I don't know, 6 months, and just assumed that and I assumed they got somebody else. And then they go back to me and said, "Oh no, we want to pursue it." I'm just trying to think. I don't know if I knew who wrote it by then, possibly. But anyway, so yeah, you know, that's great. They tell me, oh, so it's Magda Zabansky, who's the famous. For some reason, I was thinking, I don't know why I thought it was Kamal. I don't know. In my head, you go a famous actor, like I thought, who could it be?
Kamal, man, where is Kamal?
I don't know where I get that from.
Anyway, so unkind, Dean.
No, I do a lot of drugs. Anyway, so. Oh, Dave's showing something very nice. Oh, I love that.
That's awesome.
That's great. Awesome.
So with Timmy, it's like, I don't know how many designs I did of Timmy, but it was like a lot. And it kept getting bounced back because it's very much, Timmy is very much Magda, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like if someone's showing you a version of you as a cartoon, you want it to look like you, but I don't think I was really clear on that. So I just did a lot of different versions, and finally it came to like this particular version. But by the first book, I was exhausted after some of the versions before I even started drawing the book. And then Scholastic said, I penciled everything, and Scholastic said, we want you to come to a meeting with Magda, and it said Sydney. So they flew me up to Sydney. I didn't realize how much I must have screwed up by this stage. Like, kind of like, if the publisher's flying you to Sydney to have a meeting with the author, you've done something wrong. And so we sort of had a meeting, because she's Melbourne-based, which I think is really funny. She'd been up for like awards night or something. And so we had this meeting, and she went through it, and I think it was really interesting because she, she writes comedically. Like, you know, you set it up, you do a kind of here's the gag. Oh no, it's like you set it up. Here's the something, and then there's a beat, and then then the punchline.
Yeah,
you can't draw that in a book. It's very rare. It's very hard to draw that in a book because it's very much like a static image. You've got one like illustration per page. So that kind of took some working through about how to go about doing that. And I think I drew it was going to be like say 200 pages. I drew another 100 pages on top or something before we kind of got that rhythm right. But yeah, so she, you know, my name dropping, she was in the meeting, she was super nice. We chatted before, she was really lovely, so that was nice. And it's like, you know, how you imagined that she would be, which is kind of, you just don't want famous people to be awful. And so it's been really great. So unlike comics, which I love comics, kids' books you get royalties for, which is really nice. So occasionally, like, you know, every 6 months, I get a royalty check, which is just nice. Like a poor artist for so long. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a really nice. It's like this little present that comes in the mail. Like, you know, isn't that sweet? So yeah, it's been a great thing to work on.
Have you met her in real life?
Yeah, so I had this. So I was there at that meeting. If you listen to Rob, I just called you.
Sorry. I'm trying to think of questions.
Run for your life.
I've got the questions here, and we're smashing through them, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sizzle's World, mate. Does that work on the scissors as well?
Yes, I've met her in real life. Yes, she's lovely. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, can I say, really knowledgeable about art. Very well travelled. Like I did this drawing like about Timmy. I think it was in book 2. Timmy's spewing and he's pooing, and there's a whole like shit show. It goes for like 3 pages of double-page spreads of shitting and pooing, shitting and spewing. And I messaged her. I said, "Oh, this is my Guernica, right?" And she goes, "Oh, I've been in Guernica because I was in Spain." And I was like, like she really like she knows her stuff. So
Yeah.
I should.
Sizzle, can you show us and flick through the book?
I draw the spewing thing.
Sizzle's got him right. Sizzle's got him next to him.
I've got him right here. If you want me to.
Oh yeah. I've got one here. Sorry. So
You came well prepared.
Yeah. So there's a part where he bites the girl he loves on the bottom, right, and right bottom there, bottom bite, and then she shits, and then he shits it up there, and then she spews, and then he spews, and then it's this going on. And some of them, like, I really wanted to make it look like, oh, so this guy's definitely shitting out of his mouth. Well, so yeah, art. I went to art school, folks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome stuff.
What other? I mean, we haven't even talked about. Where is it? Let's bring this thing up. Oh. Can you guys see that? I can't see it, but is it up for you?
Oh yeah,
I can.
Hellboy.
Yep.
I'll drop it down so Dean.
Oh
can
yes,
see it.
I went on. Look,
Really?
look. There's Mark Minola's name. That's my name.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
I know.
Yeah,
So I
wow.
spotted it wasn't Hellboy. It was a Lobster Johnson story, and it was a
Oh,
2-page
okay.
story.
Hey,
And
take it. It's still on the front cover.
It was still the front cover. I claim it.
Yes.
That's right. So that was a fun gig. I never got any work out of it after that, so I don't know if I did a really bad job. So what have I worked on? So Hellboy, obviously Simpsons, Futurama, Rick and Morty did the cover. I did some stuff for Invader Zim.
Futurama?
Yeah, Futurama, a little bit for Futurama. I was doing some stuff for, it's called American Mythology. So I worked on Oggy and the Cockroaches.
And not just Simpsons. You did like.
Oh, sorry.
Jimbo
You're
Jones
reading
and,
that.
Yeah,
like a whole other.
Yeah, so it was. This is going to sound egotistical, but
No,
my thinking, this is if it's cartoony, I can draw it. Do you know what? If it's cartoony, I can open file enough. You know, so that's allowed me to. It's interesting. Like in comics, cartoony is not necessarily the best thing that you can do. Like you know, if you can be more realistic, you're going to get more work.
Can you draw that though, Dean? Spoil it with arms.
Yeah.
Come on,
I
mate.
don't know, man. It's a bit of a. The hands are good, but it's interesting. Like but with cartoony style, you can get work in children's books, or you can get work in I don't know stickers or card games or this kind of. So it is. You actually you can build a career out of it that maybe not necessarily a cheater can if you specialize in one particular style.
Yeah.
See how I brought
Mm-hmm.
that back? Did you see that? That's right.
Nice.
That's beautiful,
Nice.
Dean.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thanks, Lauren.
That's awesome.
Can I say, if you're ever in Perth, you should go to that meat place, Lauren. Where's that meat place that you can get like a barbecue?
Oh, yeah, but you didn't get to go. Oh,
No. I've been there since, and as a vegetarian, it's actually a really good place because I have these really nice mushrooms and stuff as well. It's like this grilled.
They do actually do some half good, like vegetarian stuff. But yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend going there if you're a vegetarian.
Well, you can
But
it's all right.
Old Faithful, it's delicious. Yeah, it's good.
That's our plug to the meat place in Perth.
Is it literally called the meat place, or you just
I don't know what it's called.
No, it's called Old Faithful.
Don't type in meatplace.com. I can't guarantee it's going to take you where you want.
It's great.
I felt so bad
just
that
got
night. I
some
was just like, no.
We've been somewhere else. We're fine. Don't worry.
Oh,
We just got some pictures in. Someone from the audience,
All right, good.
Davo77, sent that one.
Oh,
I think I
that's
accidentally showed it before.
Nice
That's a
work,
rip.
Davo.
Oh,
And Nath just sent this over to me.
Ah!
Hey, good one, mate.
Can everyone see that?
No, I
Yeah.
can't see it.
I
Yeah.
can't
And
see
I'll
it.
put it up again. What
Oh,
about now?
there he is.
Oh, no.
So,
Yeah, I can see.
no, they
so
can't
that-
see.
Yeah,
that's
Ripper.
Timmy joining the My Little Pony.
I like that.
herd.
That's great. I love that.
Anyone else in the room want to show us a progress report?
I'll send it. I'll send it to you, Dean.
Mine's
Yeah,
coming.
please do. Man. Oh,
Oh,
Great.
awesome.
Who's the rider,
That's cool.
Dave?
That's the death
Probably
dealer.
Tony.
Mate.
Who is it?
That's the death dealer. Don't you know Frazetta?
yeah, I was going to say it's
No.
Brazil, yeah?
Well, I know of him. Don't know him personally.
Oh, love
Oh,
that.
Oh,
Thanks,
Josh.
Josh.
Gosh,
I love that.
Wow.
That's
Good on
great,
you, Josh.
And
Millie.
Millie.
Oh.
Oh.
He's in therapy.
That's awesome.
Really, drawing him like one of those French girls.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So where's everybody from? So Rob and Nathan, you're from Melbourne. Dave,
Yeah.
you're out of the
I'm
sticks.
from the Mallee, mate. I'm from Mildura.
Yeah. So Lauren's in Perth. What about Angie, Chris, and Josh and Millie? Where are you guys from?
I'm from Tasmania, but I'm in Melbourne, unfortunately.
Sorry, it sucks for you. I feel it.
Don't.
Oh no, Melbourne. Jesus.
We're not
Also
long.
in
We're not
Melbourne,
long,
yeah.
Pete. We've only got 2 weeks. Mate.
2 weeks.
Hopefully.
2 weeks
Killer.
we can do
Then
it.
before.
We can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
290 days. Well, I think it will almost be 300 days that we've had
That's
lockdown.
crazy.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it was like out of lockdown. I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
think it's institutionalized. I don't know if I can leave the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a video the other day of somebody saying, "What are those? Who are they?" And they said, and he said, "Oh, they're people." And he said, what are they doing? And he said, "They're socializing." He said, but they're not keeping a distance from each other. I don't understand.
No, yeah. I walk past people now and I just hiss. You know, I have no social skills anymore. It's gone.
I didn't have social skills to start
I
with.
know,
So that,
I was going to say, I never had
Yeah,
to start
About
with.
lockdown, legitimate excuse to avoid people.
Yeah.
Oh, can't see anyone for a month and a half. Oh.
No, shame. It's so unfortunate.
And we got some other drawings that have come in. One from Nick May. Let's see if everyone can see this one.
Oh, that's great.
Wow, yeah.
That's cool.
I can't see it. She's sizzle.
Can't see it.
Hang on, I'll put it back up. There you go. What about now?
Hey, look at that.
That's very similar to how I was kind of drawing Timmy originally.
Oh. Do you notice the t-shirt?
Oh.
though?
nice.
Greatest American Hero t-shirt.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
Greatest American Hero t-shirt. I noticed that as well.
Yes. Love it.
Everyone over 40 can go, believe it or not, I'm walking.
Okay, no.
And no one else knows what I love it.
What do you reckon, Sizzle? We throw it to our next segment?
Well, I'll just put Lauren's up first.
Oh, please.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's good.
That is sick.
Yeah.
Kind of
You can't see it,
playing
and
on
I'll put it back up.
Maximus
What about now?
Tangle.
Oh,
Ticked off.
yeah.
I'd say that looked pretty
Stop being
ticked
so
off,
good,
that's all.
Lauren. You're killing us.
I can't do cartoony, so like every time a star comes up, I'm like, oh god, what do I do?
What I got,
So
yeah.
just kind of,
It's got to
Sharing
be
the
just
studio with Yarden and Samariva too long.
yeah, too realistic.
Yeah. Got it beaten out of you.
Yeah.
All right, hit us.
I'll let you press the
Segment.
button, Spedsy.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know.
Well, I'm over in the comments.
Good on you,
I'm
mate.
over in the
Right.
comments.
This ready, guys?
What a great show it has been so far. How about those thrilling tales from
Insert guest name here.
Now we throw it over to you, the audience, and your questions. It can be a question for
Insert guest name here.
or anybody on tonight's show. Let's hear them.
Yes.
Ooh, that's funny. I love that.
What we're doing is, guys, anybody out there, if you would like to send in a question, now's the time to do it. It can be for Dean, as the video said, or anybody here in the room. Any questions? Don't get too personal.
Ask me who I hate in Australian. Who do I hate in Australian comics? No.
And just while we wait for people to send them in, Dean, what other IP what would be your dream project? You can draw anything, so what would it be?
Questions, Spency.
Yeah, look, I would still like to keep it in my wheelhouse. I would still like to draw a regular show or Adventure Time or SpongeBob. Those are the kind of things. Like I tried.
SpongeBob is really good.
Yeah, I tried to get SpongeBob when it was still going as a comic, and so I even drew a Sponge Bart story.
Yeah,
to get away to try to do my best as a bit of a pitch, but it never happened. So, what was the question? Has anyone drawn themselves into their own comics? Yes, I have. Dan.
Oh, awesome.
You're really good at it, though.
Well, I shouldn't do it, but I drew myself into an underdog comic, and yeah, I drew myself as a head in the wall in a recent Scotty Young comic. Yeah, but what I really try to avoid, is like, oh man, I don't want those poor schmucks who've done something really bad. And there was a Marvel guy from Indonesia, and there was another recent Marvel guy who did some awful things, and your career's gone. So I think it's fine to draw yourself, but don't I really wouldn't recommend putting hidden messages into your work.
Oh,
it will pay.
Go horribly wrong.
Yeah, they go bad.
When I was in the army, I did a few comics and cartoons and that. So that I haven't got any to hand here, but as include, I was in a fire station at the time, and I did a comic of the whole station. Everyone featured in it, so I was in that one as well. I did a cartoon myself for that.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know about you. I get drawn a lot. I don't need to draw myself. People draw me all the time. It must be my head or something. I feel like I have like
incognito tonight.
Yeah.
Cue Nick. There you go, Nick.
So I get drawn. Yeah, it's great, and it's really appreciated because I put a lot of people people put a lot of work into it, but I get drawn a lot. So again, it's my head.
Yeah, such a popular character, mate. That's why.
Oh yeah. You know it though.
You thought it was because of your good looks, didn't you?
Yeah, that's it. It's because of my good looks.
I'm going to get you drawn in my next comic now, Dean.
Okay, thanks.
I've done Paul Bedford.
So, have you?
Yeah, in Hardboiled 1. So,
thank you, Jeff. True.
He got thrown against the fence by a Yeti. So, poetic justice, really.
Oh, no, he deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just joking. I'm joking, Paul. Joking.
Oh no, joking. I did send it to him for approval.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He did want a royalty, and I said being in the comic was enough. And
yeah. That's what you get, man. Yeah.
That's right.
It's funny when you're like, can I say, like, you were advertising me on this, like, oh, Dean, nice guy. People never say anything bad about him, but it's this curse. I've been trying to get for like 10 years. I swear to God, I've been trying to get up Dean Rankine, bad boy of Australian comics.
Yeah.
It never works. But the problem with being considered a nice person, if you're a bastard once, they go, oh geez, like that Dean, I thought he was a good guy. But if you're a bastard like all the time, you do something nice, like, oh, he's all right, he's not as bad. You can't
remember that time at Supernova when you were when I went up to your table and you were really mean to me.
Oh yeah. Was I hungover? That happens.
and like we'd met like 5 or 6 times, and he said, "Wow,
you're a judge, man. It's awful. I had it.
I think that's a made-up story.
I'm not a nice guy, but I'm not a nice guy. I was so angry when I didn't get into that meat place with Lauren. I was so angry. I hold it right.
That guy holds the title of the bad boy in comics, so knock him off his pedestal.
Okay, we're going to read the question. Do all of you own a collection of comics, and what would be the oldest print date in that collection? Ooh, yes, I do. I got rid of heaps of them. I've got Judo Master #1, which I think it was 1960s or something, maybe. Nice. But most of my stuff is around like 80s, 90s on kind of thing. Yeah, I got rid of a lot. I like to. I've got a few signed ones, which is really nice. Again, because if you get to be a guest at a convention, like it legitimizes you, and you get to hang out with like the famous comic people and stuff like that. So it's like pretty sweet signed comics, Yeah.
One of the
yeah, I've not gotten rid of anything of mine. I have every single thing, even the
previous.
Yeah,
nice.
What's Lauren got there?
These aren't mine though.
Yeah,
I have them. They're not mine.
They're not yours.
I got the Wolverine.
No, nice.
Yes.
But these aren't mine though, so I have to send them to the owner. But I was looking at them; they're very nice.
I've got like this isn't the oldest, but I've got a signed Gru, Sergio Aragonés for the.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. That's
so if you want to love the guy, that guy, he's beautiful.
Sergio Aragonés, yeah.
Yeah, he's the nicest guy. Yeah.
Do you, Dean? Do you like a lot of the Asterix, Obelix kind of stuff?
No.
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 I thought you
I don't know why. I think there were just too many words. Like I never read I've never read Asterix. I've never read Tintin, and I'm sorry. Like, and I'm supposed to, but it just seems like hard work.
What about like Foot Trot Flats, like for an Aussie like comic strip?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have an original like strip from Four Flats, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody else who has one. So my uncle was from New Zealand and sent me over one, and I scored that. I love Four Flats. Big inspiration. I stole Wall Fort's nose for years. I drew that for years, and it was a big influence on me. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Murray Ball was the artist and then the writer.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, there's a question. Who would you like to go up against in a live drawing comp from this panel and why? Nobody, because it would.
Well, if you want to win, me.
It's intimidating.
If you want a guaranteed 110%, me.
Okay, can I tell you my story? Okay, here's my story. Okay, so at Supernova they do a thing called I don't know. It's like a sketch off. Like a sketch off. And if you've ever done a convention and you like drawing at a convention is just that's next level fear anyway when you're doing commissions, right? But this one was I had to draw a live sketch off, and I drew it with Dave Gibbons, Joe Justin, and Bob Layton, right, who was a bigger Iron Man artist. And needless to say, I did not win. If you want some fear, have a live drawing against Dave Gibbons. That will put some. Yeah. So,
Dean, was that audience voting?
It was audience voting.
Literally.
The way you put it, you put your work up, and I put my work up first because I'm a cartoonist. I'm fast, right? I had 3 panel thing or something like that, right? And so they clap and they go like, "Fucking yeah." It's intimidating as shit.
Steve Gibbons, that was Dave Gibbons. That's what.
Yeah.
Dean, that was your opportunity to be the bad boy of comics and flip the table and walk off.
Oh no! just while I think Bob
Or you could have done a whole page like a whole 9-panel page and just be like, "Can you do what I do?"
Yeah. We did feel like I did like a we were doing like it was a Friday night preview thing, and Joe Driscoll was there, and I can't remember who else was there. But we're doing like squiggles and making them, and I killed it at that. Absolutely killed it. So yeah, that kind of stuff fine. Real art, not so
I
much.
love the squiggles that you do. The squiggles are good. It's interactive and like engages people. Everyone, like whether it's fans or friends, family, like it's really nice. It's like really cool.
Yeah. So I do this thing for people. I do a thing called Dean's Doodles, and I get my doodle out. What's it? And yes, I get it's a fun thing to do, and it kind of inspires people to make something out of something. It doesn't matter if you can draw or not. I'm a big believer in, we talk about talent a lot. Oh, they're so talented. Like art is some magical gift that's been bestowed on some and not others, and that is such bullshit. Because what happened was, like, when we were kids and we drew, someone said it was good and we believed them. That's the difference. And we ran it. And with that knowledge, we've gone, I'm going to draw. I love that feeling that when people like my stuff, I'm going to draw. And by doing that, we've got better. It wasn't magic. It wasn't something that you can go, I like how skinny you're doing me too. I really appreciate that.
Same.
Yeah, I'm a big, because to draw it takes sacrifice, it takes time, and it's it's an absolute shit show because financially it's an absolute nightmare. But we do it because there's this thing in us to drives us to do that. But it's not talent. It's not magic. Doesn't that's we got here because we worked really hard to be there, and we deserve to be there. But it's not magic. I love it.
No, not magic.
So cool.
Although is this magic?
Hey,
Nice.
Oh, I can't see
You can't
it.
see it, can you?
Who drew that?
Oh, it's my own thing.
Who would that artist be?
And we got one from Angie as well. Can everyone see that one?
You know what you're doing.
He's doing a horse bobby, not a cow bobby.
That's rage right there.
So good. Hey, Dean, in terms of growing up and stuff, obviously we're on a generation gap a little bit. But did you have? I just know in my when I grew up, it was very like, no, you have to go to uni, you have to do all this. Like, art's not a thing. Did you ever have that when you were growing up?
Like, I grew up in a single parent family, but my grandfather particularly, old school, he wanted me to get a trade, like something like a draftsman or a sign writer or something. And it's like, it just, look, in some ways he was right. Like, I get it. I do understand that you need to have some kind of, I'm not sure airy-fairy art will pay my way, that kind of thing. You do, you do need that stuff. But I just couldn't. Yes.
No. I swear.
It was very So yes, I had a lot of pressure to do that, and in some ways, I have to say that I have a lot of guilt that things have kind of changed now. But I would have loved that if my wife didn't have to work. You go, don't worry, baby, I'll bring home the bacon, and so. But I've never been able to do that because we can't survive without that income coming in, regardless of how successful I am. That's always been.
What? I feel like partners thrive off the fact, like, if you've got a partner that truly and honestly supports you, my husband's the same.
Yeah.
They just thrive off the fact that you are enjoying it. Like, I go to work for 8-9 hours a day, come home, work for another 3 hours on my own stuff, and he's just like, yeah, you do you, blah blah blah. And like, as long as you're honest with them and communicate with them and stuff like that, like there's so much more value in that relationship opposed to just bringing in money, you know, like, and you're enjoying yourself, you're really pushing it, you're succeeding, you're like really just doing 100% what you love, and I think that's more important.
And it's not like we don't. It's not like we're not working. Like again, you're up at 5:30. Like but then you work and then you work into the evening, and it's not like this is not valued in the same way financially as some other kind of things, which is that. But I can't do anything else. It's like I have no choice. When I say that, like, so I work, so it's an outreach needle and syringe program. So I drive around at night, hand out needles to injecting drug users, right? And I love it, right? But it's 12 hours a week, and I've done other work to kind of survive, but nothing brings me what I need, like drawing. And I'm sure it's like therapy. Like, I'm not, mentally okay. So it's not like it's kind of, I have to be able to do this, and I don't know, and I don't think it's really healthy because I don't know what I'd be able to do if I don't do it. But I just don't feel like I have a choice. So
I think, Dean, what you're saying there, though, I mean, you know how you were saying, like, drawings in all of us, and it's not built in. I think there's a difference though in, yes, anybody can draw, right? And you can practice and you can become an artist, but it's that passion and drive and love for it. Like like you're talking right now about how, it's in you, and if you're not doing it, then there's a part of you missing. And so I think that's what sets a real artist from someone who just likes to draw.
I guess you're right, because it's like, and it's not like, I think a lot of us are like, it makes me happy. Go, sometimes it doesn't necessarily make me happy. It's like I'm miserable, but I need to do it. This is my fix that I need to be able to do, and I need to be able to function. And that's not all bad. I think that I don't know what my diagnosis is, right? But I'm pretty sure that the way that I think and act sometimes may not be great for, I don't know, filling out forms or doing maths, but I'm built for this. I'm built for drawing cartoons. I'm built for writing. And this is kind of like, I don't know, these bizarre skills that I have that are pointless in every other context works within this role. And I think that's really interesting. It's like, kind of like that, something that would make me disabled in another thing makes me the perfect cartoon machine on this end of here. I know there's going to
you know what's really good about that is that you bring joy to people as well, and I think that's huge. Like a lot of us forget that, I guess.
Look, I have no regrets. Again, I don't
Lauren,
feel like
he's the Marie Kondo of comics.
Which we bring joy. I bring joy to the people.
So, Dean, you were talking about your diagnosis. I just quickly Dr. Googled you.
Yeah.
And based on your beard, it says that you're majestic. So
majestic.
That's the diagnosis.
I've got booked in for a trim. It'll make me look like
or the Latin term, according to majestic, it says subliminous. So that's your diagnosis right there.
Thank you.
The way I've tried to explain it to people in the past, because I have friends that, I mean, all my friends, no one understands until I found sort of this community. I felt like a freak. But I'd sort of like, we would all go to an 8-hour work day, and I feel like my friends would come home and feel fulfilled, and they would sit down and have dinner, play Xbox, and feel like that was a good day's work. Whereas I got home and I would be depressed, and there would be no fulfillment until I'd spend a couple of hours forwarding my real passion, my real career, etc. One thing, so I've only just in the last few years started making some money moves, and
Yeah.
I can actually like write Illustrator on forms now as my job.
Good on you, mate.
Was your wife with you pre-Simpsons?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
so she's
yeah.
been along for the ride of like
Yeah.
struggling artists through to, you know, legitimized.
more famous struggling artists. Yeah. So I think, and she's been super supportive. And like, so I did art and design course. I freelanced, tried to make money, didn't make enough money. Worked in a library for 5 years, and did community work. So, like I'm a youth worker, and I did drug and alcohol counselling and those kinds of things. But it's only in recent years that I've been able to cut down on those hours and focus more and more on drawing. And so it's only now that I make more money from drawing than I did when what I'm doing for my sort of day job. But
I think Dean's wife is actually nicer than Dean. Actually,
yeah. I know.
Is that possible?
She's the
really,
I'm the winner. Stop saying that. And yeah, she's less than I am.
Like we spend hours after the show every Friday night discussing craft through to like we had a big chat about Ledger Awards and that they mean nothing to some and a lot to others and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, I have one, so that does mean a lot. So
to me, something like that would it would be something that I could show to legitimize me to my football-loving mates who can build a house, and I can draw the house. That's about it. I imagine The Simpsons was a big sort of legitimizing moment for your non-creative friends. Would that have been the case?
Yeah. And no, I don't have any friends.
You got a friend in me.
Yeah, so it's not really a big issue.
Yeah. Lauren, remember those times you were out with him, Lauren, and he doesn't have any friends? And
no.
What?
No.
Nice.
You're being
He
struck
says he doesn't
off,
have any
Lauren.
friends.
Anyway,
No, you didn't do anything. I'm saying he said he doesn't have any friends, so he's hung out with you. And he's hung out with others. He doesn't have any friends.
With context, I don't have a lot of friends. I've never really needed to legitimize. Look, I'm friends on Facebook with old high school friends, and they go, "Oh, you've done so well," but they don't really get what I've done.
Yeah.
But with Simpsons, I know that I did one, so the one backup issue. Then I didn't hear anything back for a little while. I thought maybe that's it, because if that's like. If that's the pinnacle, I've done 2 pages of Simpsons. That would kind of suck. But I do like it's almost it's bad. Like I've peaked really, like I've kind of peaked early, and now I'm on the slow decline. The slow decline into alcoholism and madness. Because like from now on, it doesn't matter what I do, nothing's going to peak that anyway. But I do like that.
You got more gumption in you. You got something else. I'm waiting for it.
I can't stop making things and continue to make things, but it's really nice if I'm out. I go, oh, this is he drew Simpsons, and go like I was in I did a convention in New Caledonia, which is great. You should go if you have a chance. And they ordered me some cava in French, right? Carvo, you should try that too. Anyway, so at the bar, and this girl introduces me, goes in French, I don't speak Simpsons, and he goes, Simpsons, And so, that's really nice. That's like kind of that does legitimize what you've done. But I often think about this: that what if I didn't get it? Like, am I then? Am I a success because I got that, or am I then not a success if I didn't get it? Like I could have been, I would have still been drawing. I would have still been doing my thing, but it may not have been something that people know. So why is that? Why am I a success because of that, but not all this other stuff underneath? I do
most of us. You probably
I think
moved the
it's more,
goalposts a lot over the course of your career, though.
You gotta look
That'd be
at it
right.
being like, I am a success. No, I got it because I'm a success. Sorry, tongue tied.
Yeah, because
That's
like
the way to
every
look
day,
at it. The only reason you got it is because you're good.
Yeah, well, also because like I'd worked really hard to get to that point. Again,
Yeah.
38, so it wasn't like at any like way if I'd gone when I'm 37, going, oh, I don't want to draw, like I give up, you know. But it was like, so I think there's a, I don't know, it's something to, I think it's interesting, and I think it's interesting how we value ourselves compared to other creators. Go, Dean Rankine, he's worked on this, right? But I may not have. There wasn't anything, again, wasn't anything magic about it. I had worked hard to get to that point, and I think, do I deserve it? No. But did I, like, you know, have I run with it? Fuck yes. And I will run with it till I die. But I think there's not necessarily a scale. Okay, you've done that, so you're not successful, or you haven't done that, so then, or, you know, if you know what I mean. That's my theory.
Yeah.
I'm very
That's a good way
philosophical.
of looking at it.
I wonder though if you turn 80 and you look back and go, right, Simpsons was the peak. I wonder if it's a better thing to, like, maybe I've passed. Maybe a lot of us have already had our peak and we didn't even know.
we didn't know.
Maybe it's better to recognize it.
Yeah. I think in some ways, for me, I'm always going to be trying to prove that it wasn't a mistake that I got to draw Simpsons.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah, but Dean, you look at actors like Christopher Waltz, say, for instance. He was 51 when he first started acting. And I mean, look where he is now. You know, if he was trying to get into acting for ages, and then all of a sudden he just sort of blew up. So, you know, I mean, you've got to look at it from persistence point of view as well.
Look, I'm not beating myself up at night thinking about it. Like, it's this kind of how I operate. I'm drawing the best I've ever drawn now, right? Yeah. But in 2 weeks' time, I'll look back at my work and not like it. That's kind of how I operate. It's like I'm not being falsely modest. You know, I'm not fishing for compliments. But you know what? I will start to look at it and I go, shit, I really screwed the leg on that one, or whatever. You know, does it make me a better artist? Absolutely. Does it make me a happy person? Not a chance. So I think that's that kind of it's that little balance. I do.
Isn't that most artists though?
But I think so. I think from my many years on the planet as a 50-year-old now, that I do feel that I'm more at peace now than I have been in the past. It doesn't feel like quite as much of a struggle. I'm a little bit more forgiving. I'm a little bit more okay. Well, maybe that panel isn't the best, but I've got a lot more panels to go, so I'll go on to the next one and the next one and the next one. You know, that's just so. You do what you can.
You can't spend all day on, or you know, you can't spend all week on a panel, mate. You got to move on. You just got to let it go.
This is absolutely. I love it. I'm very philosophical tonight. But I tell you, I like it.
That's awesome.
That's what we want. We want to get into your psyche and find out.
Yeah. Tear that stuff out. So
if
I do like
start crying. That would be great for our.
If anyone wants to ask about my daddy issues, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Well, prepare yourselves for this one. This is Timmy's a little bit more than just annoyed.
Oh,
that's from Duncan. Watching, can't see it, or you can.
No, I can't see it. Can't see it.
Yeah, try again.
The mildly ticked off. Oh, miffed.
Wow.
He's mildly miffed.
That's from Duncan. He's watching at the moment. Yeah.
That's incredible.
It looks like when he's really ticked off.
I love how you done the main, Duncan. That's gorgeous.
Wowza.
So we've got two people to pick on now, because we're well and truly past the hour. So I'm going to go with Chris first.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, good to see some flowers and mushies in there, mate. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks very lovely, Wyatt, but
He's
That's
unimpressed.
gorgeous.
Not impressed.
That's really cool. Man.
Not impressed at
impressed
all.
at all.
That's awesome.
No. I love that.
That's awesome.
Very
I
good.
like how it's got the belly button too.
Aww.
Millie just dropped hers in chat.
Oh, it's a,
So many tears.
So
And so
many
many
tears.
arrows.
It's a hard life.
Josh,
Marvin.
how are you going, Josh?
Millie just dropped hers in chat, but my computer can't hack me trying to download it. So.
What?
oh,
Oh, wow.
That's great.
Super, mate.
Oh,
Belly
yeah, mine's having
button.
a bit of an issue now too.
So good.
Hang on,
Good
I'll
work, mate.
bring you back down while I
Wow.
just download this one.
You want to see mine?
Nah, we're good,
Yeah.
Dave.
That's fantastic.
Love
That's
That's cool.
Wow.
Awesome.
There's the
Very
love.
three-dimensional.
Very cool, Dave.
Very cool.
That's rad.
Dave, you were a little stressed last week post-show when we talked about Timmy was going to be this week's one. You didn't know how you were going to tackle it,
Yeah.
and I feel like
You've
you've
done a
smashed
very
it.
good job. Yeah, smashed it. Yeah.
So how am I going to, you know, there's a lot to getting that character, right? You know, that ticked off Timmy, so a lot of pressure on.
And we got Millie's here. Can everyone see it?
No, that's
Oh,
weird.
Aw.
Very good.
Ah, that's
Nice
cool.
one,
Yeah.
Millie.
What about now?
Oh, that's rad.
That is so cool.
I love it.
In one of the books, Timmy does have a therapy session,
Oh, that's
and,
good.
and then shits and spews everywhere. Here we go. So,
I forgot the shit.
good to see him at the.
Hang on, I'll just.
There it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
That's him at
Oh,
on the couch there. He loses his shit and throws everything everywhere, and shits on the ceiling.
Classic.
No.
Awesome.
That's just. Oh, that's. Sounds
And
like
this is
a normal therapy session for me.
It's a book for children.
Kids' books have certainly changed since I was a kid, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Hey, no, this the very hungry caterpillar, no that shit.
Captain
you know what,
Pugwash
comics
was
coming in.
one of my favourites, but
Oh,
I
yeah, I
don't
like
think I ever
those.
got into any of that.
Love it.
Hey Dean, would you want to have your own animated series? So yeah, I mean, you've obviously done Simpsons, and you're a fan of a lot of this IP.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would sort of aspire to do or want
It's
to do?
something I've toyed with. I've done storyboarding before, and just this year and last year I've done some character design stuff for animation, but it hasn't quite got off the ground. I feel like it would be. I would need some more information, but I've got this comic idea called Hard Boiled Dicks that I think that about. It's like a
Very serious.
Yeah, they're detectives, but the whole town is like
Yes.
overridden by kind of like slasher film tropes. So like everyone's getting killed and there's werewolves all the time, but they can't quite solve it because they're dumbasses. And I like to draw gory stuff, and I think that would be a fun animation. So I thought I'd do it maybe as a comic first when I get a chance, and and take it from there. It's funny because it's hard. Like I sort of scrounge and hustle for work, and when I'm working, I'm happy. But then when I stop working, I can't quite get inspired to do too much of my own stuff these days. I'm trying to be better with it, but it is something that I'm working on.
Yeah, it's like a mechanic has the worst running car because the last thing he wants to do is go home and work on his own car.
Yeah. Do you like as artists? Don't you think it's really weird? Oh, people would go, "Oh, do you draw for fun?" And I'm thinking, no, I never draw for fun. I might draw fan art, but it's always for there's some kind of purpose in my mind that I'm going to share that on Instagram or show something, but it's not necessarily or if I'm doing life drawing or something, not necessarily for fun as such. It's just something that I feel like I need to do.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question for everybody? And in reference to, like drawing and writing in general. So, do you find it more enjoyable to draw or to write your own comics? Because obviously we're sketching all the time and we're drawing.
Yeah.
Me personally, I kind of enjoy the breakaway and being able to write my own comic, and get to that point.
Yeah. It's
So what about everybody else?
Yeah. I like I'll just quickly go first. And then I like to do both, and it feels very different to do both. It's like I'm flexing different muscles, and I've written a couple of things that other people have drawn, and that's a lot of fun. If you get that's a joy because it's, I don't know, I'm not saying it's easier, but it's different. It's different that you can write something, not have to worry about, I don't know, drawing aeroplanes or something. You can someone else can do that, and so that is really nice. I think by writing and drawing, though, it kind of bugs you even more when you get a bad script to draw, because I've had some bad scripts thinking, really? That's what you want me to do? Really, that's what you want me to do? And so it makes me.
And it's worse when you've got to change something, or it should. Well, in your eyes, you think it should be changed.
Yeah.
And you suggest a better way of doing it, and they say, "Nah, draw it
away." Yeah. My worst moment though. Yeah, my worst moment I've ever had was like I got a script that I felt was so bad I sent it back with notes on every single panel. No, I'm not drawing it.
So, obviously, Bad Boy Comics right there.
Yeah. You go, no, I'm not drawing that. This makes any sense. And to the writer's credit, they went back and redid it.
Oh, they really wanted you to draw
it. It was quite the ego trip on my go. No, I'm not doing it.
They really wanted you to do it.
Did you ask for writing credit on that?
Pardon?
Yeah. Thanks for those comments, Dean. That really helped.
Oh, no worries, nothing. I'm sorry, Josh. What did you say, mate?
Joke never works the third time, but did you ask for writing?
I didn't even hear it then. I'm sure it was funny. And we laughed at Josh's joke. It was hilarious.
That's just as funny anyway, Josh. Don't worry.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Poor Josh. He said nothing all night. It was one line.
Yeah. Been building that up for an hour.
Anyone else got an answer to Nate's question there?
What was the question again?
Do you like writing your own comics or drawing your own comics? That was one of it, wasn't it? Which do you prefer?
I think it was
get
more
excited.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, I found it more cathartic.
I get more excited from. Sorry, you go, Nate.
Go. You haven't spoken enough tonight. Go for it.
Nice. You're right. No, I was just saying you get a bit more excited for your own character, right? Like you feel a bit more pumped, like you're just a little bit more excited. Like but it depends. Like some characters you want to draw, some characters you don't. Like it's a little bit of a mixed bag.
Lauren, what if it was a Yojimbo script? Who's your favourite?
If I got a Yojimbo, I would be so happy.
Right, that might be different.
Yes, for me it's like I've been sitting under the learning tree tonight because I have a big struggle with my serious side and my silly side, and it's only like recently in the last year or so that I want to be known as a serious writer, but my art I think doesn't lend itself to real serious storytelling. So I tend to make my books silly, and then I wonder why people treat them as silly and not serious. So I sort of I'll write for other people to draw, and that will be serious, and then the things I write for myself are silly. So then my brother just said to me, dude, cartoons on the internet, people can make you cry with stick figures. Why are you worried about what your art looks like? And it's not until just super recently that I've started going, I can write real stories for myself. They don't have to all be just poop flying everywhere and whatever.
I think no, please go, Dean. I was just going to say that really sort of resonates with me because I think people forget I'm a writer as well because they go, you know, like again, I wrote every Simpsons comic I ever drew. Yeah, but they don't sort of necessarily think of me as that. And there is something not, and again, because I'm so cartoony, I tend to write comedy kind of stories.
Yeah.
But it has been nice. I've recently done something for a particular character who wears purple and lives in the jungle, and to see the page of that come back, and that's not like
thanks,
that's
Jeff.
really nice. Oh, it's lovely. So it is nice to be able to spread your wings a little bit, and I don't know, just because you draw funny doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be funny all the time.
Yeah, it's a sort of, I think when you're drawing in your style, cartoony type style, though, that it is a definite lend towards a humorous story.
It does make it easier,
yeah. And on the flip side of that coin, if you're drawing more realistic, you will probably have more of a lean towards getting your message across if you're doing a serious type story. You don't have that facial expressions that you would have, in your more humorous stuff. You know, that's what with my stories I've sort of in between, and I will flip into cartoony type expressions in my comics, even though the next scene someone will be getting shot or blown up or whatever, and there's a message in the story. There's still, I will sort of, I'm midway between the two a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's a good place to be.
But if you look at someone like if you look at someone like Daz, so Darren Close just came up then and he said, you know, he'd so much prefer writing if they had someone like Dean or Lauren doing the artwork for it. But you look at something like Killaroo, say, for instance, which has got a huge following. You know, it's probably one of the most recognised Australian IPs for comics right now, and for quite a number of years. And that's because he is consistent with his writing. I mean, his writing's great. It's so much fun to read, but there's that serious tone as well for it. So, but at the same time, he's a killer artist as well. So, you know,
I think he undervalues his artwork.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I've told him that. I told him he should be doing more comics and you know, doing more of the work
covers
himself.
and stuff.
Yeah, Darren, you should listen to it. It's an intervention for Darren Close.
I've started something, guys.
That's a good point.
We're coming for you, mate.
There is one, Shane.
I'm fairly flexible. I can do quite.
There is
in the drink and draw
I just
chat.
finished the story. Where is it? That's quite. You know, you got realistic people in it like that.
Yeah.
You know, and a realistic scene. You know. And I can draw like I did tonight with the
cartoon style.
Yeah, you're very versatile, Dave.
I got that versatility and in between.
What about you? What about you,
I
Andy?
see you do a note here. Alex, can you send it to me, please? I don't know where you've put it.
Drink and draw chat on Messenger.
Oh,
sorry, this is behind the scenes talk.
Yeah, sorry, guys. It's just I've got so many options and I'm not finding them in any of them.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to ask Angie what her sort of, because I mean obviously you sort of go towards manga a lot, and is that something that you know you enjoy writing or drawing more of or less of?
Well, yeah, I do a lot of the writing and storyboarding, then illustrating, and then editing and lettering. You know, all the time. So I kind of like the cycle. Yeah, I mean, I would rather be drawing more than doing lettering and stuff like that. But I think, yeah, like there's some writers that I enjoy drawing for, but it's pretty rare. Like I always find it a lot easier for my own stuff because I think that's, I just want to create my own stories. So
it's interesting. I think every writer should like get the script and then draw it, even with stick figures. Draw with stick figures what you wrote, because you know, and to make sure that there's not too much dialogue, you're not trying to put too much action in, you're not, you know, as opposed to, I don't know, here's 8 frames and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And this happens.
One story I did recently, it was 9 frames of an action scene. And it was just like really intense. It's just like, oh, I got to try and fit all this in one. I didn't even think it was 9. I think it was like 10 frames or something. It was ridiculous. Really hard. And sometimes you get given that and you're like, oh no, like it's intense. But
why would you want to do that?
Was that on one page, Lauren? Was that on one page?
One page, yeah.
Whoa,
one page.
Wow. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Half the time you just turn around and say, like, look, you can combine a couple of these scenes into one panel. Like you can make it work into one panel. And that's sort of like a bit of a give and take towards the writer and the artist, right? Like an artist knows sequential, non-verbal stuff, whereas a writer knows timeline and your rhythm and whatever, like, which I don't at all. So so it's a partnership.
I mean, when you get where you've got about 10 characters in the group and they want 7 panels on the page and they want 10 in every 10, all of them that people
it's the worst.
Well, this is like a 2-point font, like no one's going to be able to read it.
You got to do
just got your picture, Josh. Thanks for that. Can everyone see it?
No. That's there it is. Oh, that's better. See, look.
Nice.
Very cool.
In his hands. He's pulling his mane out.
He's definitely pissed.
I don't know how this is going to work tonight, but this is our little thing that we have going. Who's the hottest?
So for Dean and Nath, if you've not seen the show before,
you really
would like to work out who's the hottest on the show.
Yeah, we put a little animation up. And
I'm out.
I don't know. I think it's
Josh. Congratulations. The hottest man in Australian
Nice one, Josh.
Yeah, you know what it was, Josh? It was that joke. The joke we never heard.
Alex Major, aka
Thanks, Alex.
Funny Tunes.
I finally found it. Thanks for that.
It's all
well done, Alex. Good one, mate.
All right, well, we're about to enter the final segment of the show. Are you ready, folks?
This poor person is looking through the newspaper for info on what projects our artists have been working on. And this lost individual is using a map to find where she can follow our artists on social media and buy their books. How about we save them the trouble and just tell them? We call this next segment Shameless Self-Promotion.
All right, Sizzle, take us away. You can start, buddy. Tell us where we find
me?
it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my main thing at the moment would have to be ComX.shop, where I'm selling some of the people who are here and other people's work, as well as Presents, which is a ComX studio book. And ComX.shop. Nice one. Thanks, Nick. And that's probably our main thing I'd like to plug tonight would be that. Yes.
I have books for sale over at ComX.shop. The Devil's Toilet and Vamoose are both over there. Vamoose features a bunch of great Australian artists, so please go check it out. Lauren.
What up? I have Instagram. I'm ridiculously unorganized, so if you can find my big cartel somewhere, you can possibly buy Lana Luca from there. If not, you can buy some prints and stuff, but find me on Instagram at The Martial Arts, MARSHALL, and I'll pass it on to Angie.
So you can find me on Instagram at angiespice.art. I've also got a website, angiespice.net, where you can buy my comic books. And I'm going to release a new series in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be a digital comic, so I'll be updating. I'll be posting an update on that about that on Instagram. So yeah, stay tuned.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Dave?
Me. Well, you know, I just thought I might show this.
Oh.
And I'll bring that
God.
Nice.
Everyone, please note how accurately muscly I am. More green than normal, but
He just got off the Manly ferry. He's gone green.
That's great.
thanks for keeping the greys out of my beard too, there, Dave.
Yeah, I really looked after you, mate. So yeah, I do cartoon caricature commissions, and my books and stuff are for sale at Owner Indie, my comic books, etc. So and I've got a Facebook page called Amazing Tales.
Faceboard, not heard of it. Sounds.
Facebook. I got rid of Facebook. Facebook much.
That's where it's at. All right. Well, I'm at Spency on Facebook.
I'm batting on to Dean now.
I'm also on the Facebook and the Insta wall. So what I'm doing is so Scotty Young has a Substack, and I'll be working on the further the Untold Tales of Fairyland, and he's giving them away for free. So you can, if you follow him, you can see my comics for free. We'll be dropping really soon. Also, I want to give a plug for Aussie Comic Book Day. Is the inaugural Aussie Comic Book Day is the 3rd Saturday of November, and it's a thing. We made it, and it's now a thing. Yeah. So there's some. There'll be live streams. A live stream that's happening. In-store stuff at your local comic book store, and so now we have a day, just like that.
Yeah,
lovely.
Yes.
I believe ComX will be doing an all-day stream.
All-day stream,
It will be all-day stream for that one.
We are.
We're starting with Nath and Trev. Am I remembering the name?
9.
Yes.
At 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All stars.
That's over to me, is it, Dean?
Sorry, over the next now. Yeah.
So I suppose there's a couple of things for me to plug. Yes, we will be doing a independent comic book day for a couple of hours. So Trevor and myself and a whole bunch of indie artists will be just sort of chatting about books in general and all the things that we're actually doing on the show tonight, which is really, really exciting. Trevor and I are starting our own show, which will be a monthly show, just backed on the back of the awesomeness that we've had with others over the last couple of sort of one-offs that we've done. And so that'll be the All-Star Art Room, and that starts as of for Halloween. So that'll be October 30th will be our first show. So we're pretty excited about that and can't wait to watch this space on the interwebs for who's going to be on that show and what's coming up. For me personally, Kapow Comics. So I'm still publishing. I'm in the process of doing Hardboiled 3. So Sizzle, you just got the books just this week.
Yeah, I did.
And so Egbert the Egg, who is on his Indiana Jones adventure with Kung Fu Joe. So the third book is in the mix at the moment with Luke Andrew, who is an amazing artist. And I can actually exclusively for ComX announce that Matt Kime is doing a one-shot for me for Kung Fu Joe, which will be as a part of our trade. So that'll be a tier. So once we pass that, that'll go into the trade as well. So I'm really super excited to have Matt collaborate with Matt. We've been mates for years, and I love his work. And so to have him sort of create a whole book on one of my favorite characters is really, really exciting. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that.
That's
so
awesome.
That's what's happening. But you can find me on Instagram. It's Nath Stones. I do a lot of chicken scratch. So if you want to have a look there. But other than that, it's Kapow Comics. So that's me. Chris.
Awesome.
Oh gosh. So I've got a comic coming out with segment studio with SK called Wolf Cubs. That's all been illustrated and done, and it's in its sort of pre-Kickstarter stage. So the Kickstarter page is up, I think, and people can go along and follow that and get notifications. Other than that, I'm working on a bunch of projects with an SK in Comics. Me and Nicole are finishing up the next 2 issues of Fox and Hound, as well as a really, really big project which will get announced early next year, I think. But it's all a bit hush-hush, so I can't say much about it. Yeah, and I think that's it for the moment.
Awesome.
Nice.
Josh.
You can follow me on Instagram at Josh.Diesner. I think my name's on the screen.
Yep, it is on there. Yep.
And you can also follow Heaps Comics. We have issue 5, which will be dropping hopefully towards the end of next week.
Awesome.
From Spedsy and Millie and myself. And a bunch of other great Aussie artists. And also, I will be at the Halloween Zine Fair on November 7th, assuming everyone gets vaccinated in time. I'll have a table there, so come see me there.
Yeah,
awesome.
Good, mate.
Awesome.
I would if I was in Melbourne.
In Melbourne.
You can follow me at Millie Holton, and I've got I'll be in Heaps with Josh. I've got to point the right way. There you go. Then Heaps with Josh, and then the Moose with Rob. How do I do that? There we go. Little trick there. But yes, this has been so much fun. Thank you, Dean.
Oh, thank you.
And I'll just drop out for a sec, and we'll put.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you can.
Here you go, Gary.
Too bad, Gary. Sorry.
Watch the repeat.
You can follow me at detectivebudgie.com. And at Detective Budgie on Instagram.
Awesome.
I love that page, Nick.
No, he's gone now.
Stuff,
He's gone now.
He had his moment.
He's gone.
He's shy.
You can still hear you, Nate.
No,
that's all right.
He's got. No, I've muted him.
I'll only say it once.
You like Josh.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. What a ripper show. I think this is the longest we've ever gone.
It is actually. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to watch this one back because this one meant a lot to me. A lot of answers that'll do my head some good. So thank you very much, Dean. Thank you to everybody.
Thanks,
Before we hang up, everybody just stick around for 2 seconds because we'll just debrief quickly after the show. Thanks, of course, to Nick Quick for dropping the illustrations in the background.
Well done, mate.
And who's on next week? Sizzle? Is it Dave DeVries with?
Yes, it is
Dingo?
with Dingo. Yep.
Yeah. We'll have
I'm
another.
going to make a note to actually
and-
look at that each week, just so I can actually answer that question each week.
Well, Dave's always up for a chat, and I'm looking forward to prodding him about his storytelling process. Because
keep it clean, mate.
I'll try my best.
I know you're good friends and all, but geez.
Millie, are you drinking mustard straight out of the squeeze?
What do you think this is, Rob? Drink bottle. I think you know that.
We've got to the mustard drinking time of the evening.
Yeah.
We're down with that shit.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Everybody stick around. We'll chat. Peace out.
Well, we drank. We drew. We talked nonsense. Now it's time to say goodbye. Don't cry, dry your eye, for there are many cool comics you can buy. ComX.shop is full of comics from a bunch of the creators you just watched. Amazing Tales by Dave Dye. The Devil's Toilet by Spedsy. ComX Presents featuring Ed Kearsley, Tony Manzi, Duncan Pranavicius, Peter Wilson, Lee Chalker, Zach George, and so much more. The list is longer than this outro. See you next Friday for more drinking and drawing. Alright Sizzle, press the button. Sizzle? Sizzle, press the damn button. Sizzle you turkey, press the goddamn button.